Hi, I'm Manny Botticelli, and this is the Storyteller Forecast for Aquarius for May 2018. Go to my website, anniehelpsyou.com. Check out my blog for lots of support on these present and upcoming transits, as well as other goodies on my sites. If you'd like to be an astrologer or a coach as your profession, or bring your business online, check out my education options at my vocational school at anniehelpsyou.com. So what's going on in the month of May? We've got this sweet spot between these retrogrades that are flowing from March into December. It's a coming up for air, as I'll go into more details about later. It's a sweet spot also between the eclipse cycles that we just completed, and now we're going to be stepping in June, July, August, September. We'll be very busy with eclipses, and you could feel some eclipse changes at the end of May or so, and even ongoing things, you know, always the eclipses are in motion, but this is this sweet spot here where we can push things through, we can get things done, we can launch things. Yes, we still have to contend with Mars retrograde impending, but it's the best time of the year that we have from March on until middle of December for doing important new things, okay? It doesn't mean that there's not going to be opportunities that you can't follow your flow throughout the year, because the divine always has a plan that is far beyond our understanding, right? But these are just general cycles to understand. I'm calling the theme of the month for Aquarius, creating serenity. So based on what I'm looking at in your chart, there's a massive amount of restlessness that's going on, and this is for everybody, from planets starting to move into Gemini. Venus is there. Also, you've got energy in your third house, which is the house of Gemini. And for many people, this is a restlessness involving their home space. Okay, so many of you are going to be really itching to move, and you may wind up moving. This is an amazing month for moving, for committing to a contract, for buying a house, for selling houses. This is also an amazing time to fix up the space that you already have. You can become very gung-ho about your space and creating sacred space. All throughout your chart, I'm seeing this beautiful theme of this desire to and this need to create serenity in your environment as much as possible. So whether it's creating a garden space or a little nook in your house, or just anything, whether even if it's a meditation practice, something that is yours in the midst of the chaos of the world. We've got a lot of activity in the short term and long term in your mental space. It can be very uncomfortable when that happens. With Mars moving through that 12th house, it can really be pretty busy up there. Overthinking, over dreaming, like being very tired, or the opposite, insomnia. Many people will experience insomnia with this transit. So there's this, I call it a rumping and bumping around of Mars in this headspace. You know, it's kind of like you have a raccoon in your attic and it's just like tearing everything up, you know, but that's going on in your head all the time. It can bring up fears. It can bring up pieces of yourself that you didn't know existed in a wonderful way, major spiritual breakthroughs. But it can also be a little bit uncomfortable, and meditation and the creation of a sacred space and the drive to create this sacred space can be one of the ways that you use this discomfort. Okay, so there is some continued focus in your financial sector. This has been ongoing. With the planets moving into, also in Aries, we still have energy of Mercury in Aries. There's this desire to do something, and we've had this retrograde cycle that is kind of limited certain things that we could do, but in May, it's more wide open for you to push things forward, and you really want to push things forward as much as possible, as we'll talk about in more detail, because when Mars retrograde starts to set in, that's going to bring a decrease in ambitions. So if you're feeling like doing something, you really want to try to push it through. There is this ongoing theme of expansion in your work sector, and you early degree placements will be feeling this sooner than the rest of you, but it's coming up in other places in your chart, even if you're a middle or late degree placement. Okay, so with the financial sector being activated, there's definitely a link between that and career. And So this energy is causing you to ask the questions, what do I want to do with my life? Do I like my job? You know, how can I be more on track spiritually? How am I doing what is in my highest expression? So there also could be a lot of busyness at work, which again leads into this necessity to create this serenity to keep balance. If you can go outside at any time, even if it's cold out, it's amazing how just stepping away from the computer can actually make you feel better. And so with all the busyness and things going on, you know, you might find that you're on the computer more, either connecting with people, doing research, doing work things. And we have to remember the effects of these EMFs on our psychic system are really notable, you know. So the more you can, it's like a vacuum, you know. When you step in front of the device, it's like it sucks you in. And that is a literal, actual fact. So do your best to also create serenity in your electromagnetic field, which gets off kilter by the use of devices and driving around and being in traffic and being out around other people. So really claim for yourself this sacred space. That's the serenity. That's one of the themes for the month. So those are some of the things that are most on my mind for Aquarius. Now I want to go into more details about what aspects are happening when, what you can expect, how to place this month in comparison to the rest of the year, and other important transits and things you need to know about. So we'll go into all of that now. So the theme of the month for May 2018 for all signs is coming up for air. We have positioned nicely in the midst of this trend of personal planets being retrograde that started March 8th and runs through the middle of December. We've got this little period where we come up for air from the retrograde process. Also, we're coming up for air in this brief window between the eclipse cycles. So we have 3 eclipses in July and August, 2 in July, 1 in August. Starting in June, even towards the end of May, you might feel some of this. The eclipse changes, radical information coming in, news, trajectory shifts that could be unexpected or worked towards, but all of a sudden they come. So in this little pocket here in May, we're clear of the Mercury retrograde that preceded it. We're clear for a little while of the Mars retrograde that begins June 26th and runs through August 26th. The shadow period for Mars retrograde starts on May 11th. So May 4th through May 11th, we're completely clear of any personal planets retrograde. However, with every day that passes after May 11th, we're going to go deeper into that shadow period, and ambitions may tend to wane. That's one of the big factors of Mars retrograde, is that drive goes backwards. Okay, so people get more lazy, and you can sync your life with this transit. I have Aries rising, so I'm very much connected to this Mars transit because Mars is an Aries ruler, but this will affect everybody. I plan for this period of time now as a relaxing, taking a break. So I go gung-ho all in the time before it, and I plan things for the time after it. But this sweet little spot is amazing for vacations. It's amazing for rest. It's amazing for staycations. So you can use this wisely. You just have to plan for it accordingly. Okay, so if the lesson is, if you've got things you got to push through anytime this year and you don't want to wait until December, try to do it in May. Okay, if you are a person with Mars retrograde in your chart, you might start to get zippy as everyone else starts to tone down. And if that's the case, good for you, but you will be in the minority. Something else going on in May that's ongoing from March into July is that Jupiter is in retrograde. So when Jupiter's in retrograde, this is a time to scale back efforts. And this is a beautiful combination of a lesson that Mars is also giving us, because Mars, when it's in retrograde, one of the best ways to use it is to seek to do things in more efficient ways so that you do less work with greater outcomes. Jupiter retrograde tells us the same thing. So Jupiter, in its expanded forward motion, wants to make everything bigger and wider and more breadth, right? So when it's in retrograde, it looks for the places where you're spread too thin, and it pulls them in, okay? So you have incentive to cut back, trim the fat, evaluate everything in your life to see where you're putting energy, where it's no longer useful, and where it's no longer bringing energy back to you. Okay, so I'm going to go through my favorite aspects to watch for this month. You can get a written version of what I'm about to describe, as well as many more transits and details about them in my newsletter, my free newsletter at anniehelpsyou.com. If you've already signed up for my newsletter and you're not getting newsletters, I send them regularly. So check in your spam, promotions, events, folder, social events folders, because sometimes mass emails go into those folders and you can transfer them from those folders into your inbox to give your email service the message that you want those emails. Okay, also something to know about what I'm about to describe is that I'm going to give you dates, but sometimes you feel these energies on days before or days after. So don't stick too heavily to the dates. Just use your intuition to tune into the flow to see when you're feeling something, because it could be before or after. Okay. On May 8th and then on May 23rd, the Sun in Taurus and then Mercury in Taurus is going to make an opposition to Jupiter in Scorpio. This can give a tendency to overdo. In some ways, you have permission to overdo this month because you really need to get as much done as you can while the energy is good for it. But do couple that with taking your vitamins, getting your rest, trying to balance that energy so you don't do too much. Also, with the things you're creating, make sure you're not spreading yourself too thin, because as the tides come in for the rest of the year, you don't want to overcommit. So just be very wary of overcommitting, overdoing, oversaying, and even overthinking. Okay, on May 11th, one of my favorite aspects of the month is the Sun in Taurus trine Pluto in Capricorn. This is an amazing aspect for getting things done. If you have to plan launch dates, anything like that, important things around this day are very powerfully supported. In the middle of the month, we have a series of aspects that are all piled on top of one another and are each intense in their own right. Okay, so look out for a lot of energy and events in the middle of the month. We've got the new moon in Taurus at 24 degrees of Taurus. That's time for your new moon wishes. You can check out my website. If you go to anniehelpsyou.com, click on blog, click on astrology. The maximizing new moon in Taurus power period is on there. Okay, so you want to maximize those wishes. You can see more about that on that blog. A very big event that's happening at this time is Uranus is moving into the sign of Taurus. This has been in the making for 7 years or so. It takes about 7 years for Uranus to move through a sign. The last time Uranus was in Taurus was between 1935 and 1942. I won't list some of the pretty crazy and intense world events that happened at that time, but most of you know what happened at that time. It was very transformative and eventful series of time. And so we are in for many changes, maybe not exactly the same kind of things, but a lot of change. Something that also happened that's lesser known during the periods of time of 1935 to 1942 that we are set for in the next coming 7 years was and now is a rapid increase in technological advancement, including going to things in outer space, space exploration, anything with technology, anything with forward movement and planning. Also massive developments in mathematics, physics, any of the sciences and maths, medicine. There were major and technology of any kind. So there was massive expansion during that time. So we are set for this massive expansion. And it could be that you are part of this process. So if you have really good ideas, this is a period of time where you might create something that could be life-changing for yourself and other people. So definitely follow those nudges, because intuitive insight for advancement will be very much expanded during this transit. Okay. So we've got between the 15th and 16th, Mars in Aquarius, also squaring Uranus in this new placement of Taurus. So there could be, we've experienced this, like I said, the energy of Uranus and Taurus before, but we've also experienced this aspect of Mars in squaring Uranus before. So between May 12th and May 19th is when we really feel this aspect. The first May 10th is where it really might start. The second pass is going to be between July 28th and August 6th of 2018. And then the third and final aspect of this will be September 17th through 22nd of 2018. Okay, so this can bring solar flares and their natural counterparts, which are volatility and aggression, also drastic and dramatic weather changes and events. Uranus and Taurus can also bring those things. So if you are a person, well, I mean, really nobody is safe from these, you know, these dramatic weather and climate events. But if you are in a situation where you're more prone to these problems, then just take extra caution, be extra aware, and follow your intuition. If something is telling you not to be in a certain place at a certain time, to sell somewhere, to buy somewhere, etc. Because these energies with these dates I just outlined will be flared, and then also this will be a theme getting stronger for the next 7 years. My next favorite date of the month is May 18th. The first was the 11th. The 18th has Mercury in Taurus making a trine to Saturn in Capricorn. So this is another great day, time, or period of time to get things done. You'll have to dance around these other energies that I just talked about because they will be pretty intense and they may not be the best for trying to do important things, but you just have to tune into your intuition and follow the flow. Okay, so even though on May 18th, we will be in the Mars shadow period, if you're feeling froggy, jump. That's the lesson of this time. Anything that you feel really drawn to do in May, get it done because ambitions are likely to wane. The last, or the second to last notable event that I want to talk about is on May 25th, and this is Jupiter in Scorpio trining Neptune in Pisces. So this is a lineup of heavy hitter outer planets. When we have outer planets that connect, it always spans a longer, the span of influence is longer than these other planets that are quicker moving. So we first experienced this in December 2017, and this is the second aspect. So this aspect can bring optimism and generosity. It can also bring major spiritual breakthroughs. I really love this aspect for combining idealism and material success. So we could say the lesson of this transit would be that financial success and spirituality can coincide. Okay, this is a big lesson for many people here doing healing work, is thinking that they can't be materially cared for or have material ambitions while also being spiritual. And so this transit is helping us to blend those two. On May 29th, we have the full moon in Sagittarius. Mercury also enters Gemini, so this is amazing for travel, expansion, communication. This whole month is amazing for travel. And with the full moon in Sag and the planets in Gemini, people are going to want to move. They're going to be really restless. So this is one of my favorite months for travel. You do have to watch out, especially at the middle of the month, for some things. Also, if you're a traveler and you're going to be traveling during May, definitely go to my new travel website, Astrology Kissed Travel Bliss, and check out my monthly astrology travel reports because I go into more details about aspects that can be specifically related to travel and also other inspiration and fun things there. Okay, so this last aspect on the 29th can bring anything with Sagittarius to drama or fruition. Okay, so publishing, teaching, learning, completing an education, getting ready to start an education because you've completed a certain phase in your life, writing, speaking, anything with religious or spiritual pursuits, churches, and like I said, travel. So many people will have a very blessed, wonderful travel opportunity, even if it's for short distance, could turn out to be for long distance around this period of time. So these are the things I have most on my mind for May 2018. I have a longer list of aspects to look out for when you sign up for my newsletter, AnnieHelpsYou.com. And I give them to you a month early. Also, if you'd like a written version of horoscopes, not necessarily talking about things that I talk about in your personal videos, then go to CozyBySweetStarlight.com. That is my lifestyle website that is also kissed by astrology with these horoscopes. So I love to give you massive amounts of resources to work with these transits. Okay, so you've got the newsletter, Annie Helps You. You've got Astrology Kiss Travel Bliss for your travel reports and other travel information. You've got Cozy by Sweet Starlight for your horoscopes. And then also check out my blog on Mars retrograde and my video on Mars retrograde and my blog on how best to use the time when planets are in retrograde. And that's at AnnieHelpsYou.com. Okay, so if you would love to learn astrology with me, or you would love to be a coach as your profession, or you would love to bring your business online, check out my vocational school, Shine Your Brilliance University, at anniehelpsyou.com. If you'd love to have audio tracks that help to mitigate and enhance and utilize the transits of the time, my brilliant husband, B.R. Newman, creates these audio tracks, subliminal audio tracks that you can access for free on his website at iamhelios.com, iamhelios.com. He also does readings. So I hope you have a wonderful month, and I'll see you next month. Bye.